Welcome to Nugget 17 with Steve Grohman. We're going to continue with our trek across the border, speaking with Border Patrol agents, and we left off at that strange-looking fence.
After we were up on the mountain, enjoying and just visiting with them and taking pictures from there, we went on down into the desert, miles down in there, and we were just out in the middle of nowhere with nobody around, just miles of nothing, and here this agent's just coming at us, man. He's coming down the line, dust going everywhere. He pulled up and introduced each other, and obviously we're not a threat thing. He said, man, I saw you from way back. And he said, I knew you were either a jumper or my boss. So we talked about what that is. I said, well, what's a jumper? He said, well, the fence is so low right here. Illegal, as you were talking about, they have the backpacks full of drugs. They would just put ramps over the fence, and they would just drive over it, and that's how they got in.
They just drive their F-150s or
right over the top of the fence.
Just right over the fence. They
right
have
over
these
they have
platforms,
platform
ramps and drive over. And
portable, they just set them up, drive over, take them down, take them with them.
He even told us a funny story how just east of there, some guys got their truck hung up on the fence.
Up on top. Yeah.
They got in a world of hurt because
couldn't get up, couldn't go back.
They didn't want to abandon their truck.
You know, that's what a jumper is. I said, well, we're not a jumper, but what about the boss part? He said, well, we all have white SUVs, but our boss has a black one. So I saw this black SUV there. I thought maybe you're my boss. Well, that's pretty cool. Now we're the boss.
Yeah, it was cool. But anyway, we did see a backpack on the ground. We didn't touch it or do anything with it, but not sure if that was maybe one of the backpacks that they had taken some contraband across the border.
Well, I'd mentioned to him we saw one back there, and that's pretty much what he said.
Right.
It must be one.
Yeah. And we've even had a picnic along the border fence at the river. There's a river that goes through there, and there actually can't be a fence. They just have railroad ties crossed. And
railroad track again. Yeah,
railroad track,
big, tall fence, but then when they hit the actual low spot of the river, they just go to the railroad tracks so the water can flow through.
And then in New Mexico, there's Deming, New Mexico, which has the Aerostat. It was built probably at TCOM in North Carolina, which we've actually toured the TCOM facility, and they had this Aerostat.
Pretty sophisticated stuff there,
right,
too.
The first time we were there years and years ago, it was just a trailer and this Aerostat up in the air, but now there's a huge complex built around that Aerostat. And we went down to State Park and then went on the border there, wanted to go talk to one of the Border Patrol agents. He didn't have time to talk because he had a situation going on and he had to leave.
Yep.
And, so we respect that. And we always tell them that we pray for them, and we do. And we would appreciate if you would pray for those guys too. And then moving on to Texas, we have spent most of our time in the Brownsville area. When we have visited with the Border Patrol agents in all the other states besides Texas, they've all told us the Brownsville area is one of the toughest areas that they've ever worked because most of them do get sent there at some point in time. And we have some friends that are agents in California, we have friends that are agents in Arizona, and we have friends that are agents in Texas. Let's tell them a little bit about the Border Patrol that we've talked to in Texas.
We were just down at the fence, and we just had the car parked on one side of the fence. We're on the other side of the fence taking pictures back and forth. And agent drives by, and he just kind of waves and drives about 40, 50 feet, and he stops. And he turns around and looks back at us again. And
he thought we were agents.
Yeah, I walked up to him, and I don't think he got out of the car right at first. But anyway, we started talking. We ended up spending a great deal of time with this guy, and he's the one that at one point even said, "Do y'all have lunch yet?" You know, it was kind of funny. They're really cool people. They have a tough job. We got to talking about the actual border is the river, the middle of the river.
The fence is not on the river in most places.
Right,
there's quite a distance, and farmers and ranchers actually own land on both sides of the fence.
Right, so they actually do some farming. It's close to the river in most places. It's right on, but it's also on a lot of private property it runs through, and that causes a bit of a dispute, especially when you're in the local areas, they talk about it. But we asked this guy, can we go down the river? And he said, I don't really advise it, but it's okay. And, well, you can, but, I don't know, not advise it. And we just going back and forth. We said, if we see another agent, could we just tell him we talked to you? And, yeah, that's fine. They all say that. If you see another agent, just let them know you already talked to me. But I really don't advise it. And I said, well, why don't you take us down there? And he said, okay. So we all walked down.
Well, you got to realize along the different borders, there's a lot of activity or there's not. There are safer times than others. And
4 or 5 times while we're in the middle of something, I mean, and here they come flying.
Full alert, right.
Yeah, right. There's some activity they noticed or got wind of.
It's kind of been half and half generally. But
it's been a lot of times, yeah.
One of the things that we noticed when we were at the border last week, as we had just mentioned, that there are farmers and ranchers that own land on both sides of the wall, and there would be these large openings where roads would go across, and we always thought, well, what good is this fence with these openings? This time, we noticed a lot of construction that included
ginormous gates.
Right, they are installing big gates.
Yeah,
so we stopped and talked to the construction guys that were installing one of the gates,
Yeah, it was neat because he had been doing it about 2 years there, working on those gates, but they're huge. They're massive. They're putting gates on every one of them. People say the border wall's not being constructed. It's just not true. I mean, there's plenty going on. There has been a lot of wall. You'll call it a wall, but a lot of fence. Very massive fence, very, very thick, very heavy, heavy duty. But there are portions where it is small, and there are portions where it have openings like that, and they're patching up all that too.
Right, and then when we were in New Mexico, we saw men working on the top. They were walking across the top of the fence,
right, making some new stuff. And so it's a sad thing. They do an enormous job. They do a fantastic job, and they're just normal guys, doing a good job for the country, and they get treated so poorly sometimes, undeservedly. And they love what they're doing, protecting us.
Yes. Keep watching our nuggets. And while you're at it, tell 10,000 of your closest friends about our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, hit that little bell, and tell others about our YouTube channel. Thank you.